All right, good morning, afternoon to you guys. I want to make a quick video about how to cut down on your word count because I noticed a lot of you guys are over 350, and one of the more difficult things to do is to keep your writing concise. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Let me share my screen and talk about how to do that. So you can find this first slideshow in your course essentials folder for revision. It's cut and revise. So if you click on that, it will come up in just a second. All right, so let's talk about cutting down on word count. I like this quote from Strunk and White. They have a great book called The Elements of Style, and it says, vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines and a machine no unnecessary parts. This requires not that the writer make all sentences short or avoid all detail and treat subjects only in outline, but that every word tell. That means every single word you use should have its place and its purpose. So let's talk about word limits. Some assignments require that you limit the amount of words used, such as the PIQs, to 350, and for good reason. Readers read hundreds, if not thousands of essays or pages in a single sitting. And so keeping to the word count helps readers move quickly through your writing, ensures that the writer tells the story, the whole story and nothing but the story. And it's a challenge, but cutting out unnecessary words and language is crucial. And great writers are great at cutting. So one of the things we want to work on is becoming great writers. What a wonderful skill to have. So it's a tough task. It's easy to add detail. It's easy to go over the word count. It's not easy to cut words. We get attached to our words, right? We write something and we think it sounds great because it comes from our minds. But it's the most fun part of writing because it gives you the chance to revise your writing for clarity, concision, and effect. And it really is where writing becomes art. So how do I cut? How do you cut words from or delete words from your writing? Let's take a look at some original phrases and look at the revision for each of these phrases. So here we go. The question as to whether. This writer revised to whether. Cuts out the prepositional phrase. There is no doubt but that. Just say no doubt. Used for fuel purposes. Used for fuel. The word purposes indicates that that's the use of it, right? He is a man who, just say he, right? If you're going to follow that statement up with a description, it's implied that he's someone who does that thing. In a hasty manner, just say hastily. This is a subject that, just say this subject. So if you're going to say this is a subject that teaches students about history, this subject is history, right? Her story is a strange one. Her story is strange. The reason why is that. Just say because. So I'll let you read over here on your own. It explains the reasons for the revisions, but the idea is that we do these things all the time. And it's important that we learn to kind of catch ourselves and to prevent ourselves from using these kind of extraneous phrases. So that way we write with clarity. So it's a challenge. You want to look for redundant language. So have you said the same thing, for example, in a previous sentence? Cut it. Phrases which can be shortened into single words. Do you use a phrase, he ran like someone so happy, which can be shortened into an adverb, he ran happily? Make sure you cut it. Excessive details, unnecessary to the writing, cut. Sometimes people just add more and more detail and it kind of loses the train of thought. Choose the most important details. And anything else to get your writing to the word count. Cut, cut, cut. 350 for the PIQs is a pretty hard number. So let's see an example. So again, you can find this slideshow. Feel free to go back and take a look at it. But here's a sample PIQ that I'd like to take a look at. And we'll think through it. We're not going to read the whole thing because it'd be very long. But this is the describe an example of your leadership experience in which you have positively influenced others, helped resolve disputes, or contributed to group efforts over time. All right, so here we go. A leader to me is a person that inspires others. So can you identify maybe a couple words? And what we're looking for here is not necessarily cutting out entire sentences or even huge phrases. We're looking to cut little bits and pieces. If you go down the bottom here, you see the word count is 400. So it's only 50 words over. The excess of language, of word count here, may not be the only problem, but it'll be one of the things we want to focus on as we revise. So a leader to me is a person that inspires it. Now, we know this is a personal insight question, so I know it's coming from this particular writer. One thing we could do here is cut out to me. So a leader is a person that inspires others. Now, you probably notice another redundancy here. A leader is a person that, right? We know a leader isn't going to be an animal. I mean, I guess there's leaders in animal kingdom, the animal kingdom, but that's not really what we're talking about here. So we could just say a leader inspires others, right? Boom. So we went from just now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words to 4. That's a lot. That's 6 words. This person's down to 394 words automatically, and it's quick. Okay, the writing is much more concise and easy to read. It's not as wordy and jumbly. I'm going to keep moving. The rest of the sentence is a little funky, but that's one example. This person goes on to say, I believe being a leader comes with a lot of responsibilities. Now, you may already be picking up on something that I talked about in the previous sentence. And that's, I know that you believe, or to you, right? If you're writing it, I know it's your opinion. So we don't need the I believe. There we go. We could just start the sentence by saying, being a leader comes with a lot of responsibilities. In my life, leadership was shown in basketball. Okay. When I played basketball, I showed leadership. Now you're hearing the redundancy. You're hearing the same kind of phrases being repeated here, and that's definitely something we want to avoid. So he said, or they say, when I played basketball, I showed leadership because I proved. So we don't need when I played basketball because we already know they're talking about basketball because they just told that to us in this sentence. They're saying I showed leadership because I proved to my team. Well, we know you're also talking about leadership here, so we could just cut this out and say, I proved to my team that I can take the responsibility to lead. That's basically saying I'm a leader because I'm a leader, right? So I don't even know if that sentence is going to be very helpful to this individual. I may suggest cutting that entire sentence. Okay, so as you can see, we're already with this document in the first few sentences, we've cut a lot because there's just things in here that aren't really helping their writing out. So I'm just going to go and do a strike through on this one. Where do we go to do a strike through? Well, we'll just highlight it as a way to indicate that we're probably going to want to get rid of it later on. You know what? Forget it. Let's just get rid of it. I don't think we need to leave it in there. Let's do them a favor. A leader inspires. Let's go back. Let's hear how it sounds so far. Leader inspires others, is a good communicator, and honest. That's what that person wants to say, and is honest. Okay. So they're providing a definition. Being a leader comes with a lot of responsibilities. I saw something else that if I was thinking about cutting, instead of doing a lot of, what word can I use? I can get rid of 3 or get rid of 2 words here. I can use the word many. So I changed it from a lot of, which is kind of wordy, just down to many. I could also just get rid of many, and I can have a leader comes with responsibilities. And you'll notice how much more gentle the writing is here. It's less wordy, it's easier to read. That's kind of where we want to go with this. My apologies for the formatting here. In my life, leadership was shown in basketball. I'm still working through these few lines here. They could revise this. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We know it's their life. What could they say? They could say, I've demonstrated, like we were demonstrated leadership in playing basketball or on my basketball team. Okay, so I think I probably cut out a word or two there as well. Position I played, and obviously point guard we know is a position. So how about I played point guard? I played point guard. There we go, cutting out a few more words. So you'll eventually notice, I'm going to probably stop pretty soon here because I think you're getting the point. There's ways to revise and cut. We want to get rid of the redundancy and things like that for clarity and make the writing smoother. But this is where it takes time. This is where you have to pay attention to the writing on a more specific micro level. So I played point guard, and a point guard has to show leadership. Okay, well, we heard the word point guard here twice, and we know that you're trying to get at leadership, so I don't even think you need to say that. You just say, I play point guard. And look at what they do here. They say the point guard role is to be a good communicator. So they're just repeating themselves again. They're doing they're trying to get what's happening with this writer is they were sitting down to write this and they were thinking out their ideas and they were trying to just kind of go back over. They were doing this cycle thing. And now what they have to do is kind of make it more linear. They were they were hitting an idea, they're kind of coming back to it. So I played point guard. We could just say something like, whose role is to be a good communicator. The other way to say that is I played point guard, to be a good communicator. We'll leave it there and inspire their teammates, fix their grammar. All right, so I'm going to pause there because I think just that right there, if we were to compare the beginning of this to the end, and you can rewind this video and watch it again, you'll see the big difference here. So let's read just those first few sentences. A leader inspires others, is a good communicator, and is honest. Being a leader comes with responsibilities. I've demonstrated leadership on my basketball team. I would kind of change this where I played point guard. I'm working through this. I played point guard and needed to be a good communicator and inspire my teammates. Okay. So those are some suggestions for about how to go take a piece of writing like this and make those kind of improvements. We probably are now. Let's take a look at how many words we are at total. So we highlight this whole thing. Let's see if we got it down to anything closer. So we're at 357 now. So that's pretty good. We took out 43 words out of 400. We're almost actually at the word count. And my guess is if this person continued to revise, they'd probably be under the word count. And the nice thing about that is it would allow them then to add more detail. Because as you recall with reading this one, which we did in class last week, there was a lack of detail. And so they really need to figure out how do they cut language out and then go back and add more, later on, more detail later on. Okay, so I hope that helped a little bit. And this is something that you want to, be able to learn to do on your own as a writer. So good luck and thanks for listening. And let me know if you have any questions.